Right, it's that time of the year again, and Rapid TCT is coming right up next week. So joining us today, we've got Phil and Mark, who will both be attending the show over there in Boston. Hi, Phil. Mark, how are we doing?
Yeah, well, good, John. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. So yeah, today we're going to have a look at what Rapid looks like this year and what it looks like for us as a business. Obviously, you know, we've done a rebrand. So Phil is our president and Mark is the vice president of Industry 4. They're going to be heading over, meeting some key players in the industry. And we want to understand how it's changed for us as a business with our new rebrand and our divergence into these new parallel markets to additive manufacturing and what the conversations are kind of going to look like this year. So Rapid is obviously one of the key events in the industry calendar, so it feels right at the right time to have this conversation about our rebrand. So, gents, can you take us back? Let's go back to your first ever Rapid. When was it, and what were your first initial impressions?
Well, I think my rapid was a little bit earlier than yours. So I first went to Rapid in 2017, Pittsburgh. I think it was. It was the wow, wasn't it? You know, we're walking around the show. Every single stand had something new that was shiny and amazing, and you you went walking around and I just remember, you know, Desktop Metals booth was huge. You know, it was on two stories and, you know, and Rapid it's obviously evolved, but yeah, taking myself back to those days in 2017, it was very much a sort of wow, an amazing technology. You know, look at all this. Look what you can do. You know, from a design, from a manufacturing perspective, it was very much all about very much looking at new kit. And I suppose, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing, I guess. But looking back, you kind of have to see that the industry had to consolidate and rationalize.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I think I was the year after. So my first Rapid was in 2018. And similar comments to Phil. I mean, I've been in AM since 2014, 2015, but walking into that convention center, it was just kind of, I was blown away by the hustle and bustle of it, the technology that was on show. Obviously, I've been to some of the smaller shows, the TCT in Birmingham, and I've seen the technology firsthand, but it was just on another level at Rapid. And for me personally, it's just a great opportunity to meet partners, candidates, and get that face time. A lot of our work is obviously in the US, so it's great to meet them face to face.
Nice. I think, yeah, obviously it's changed a lot, as has the industry over the last, 10 years. It's violently different to where we were 10 years ago. So how would you say your experience of Rapid has evolved over the years gone? I mean, how many times have you been, Phil, as well? You've been a few times.
But yeah, I've been every year, and yeah. I mean, obviously, the industry and, you know, Rapid has evolved as AM has evolved. I think, and I feel that the show has become a lot more about real value and looking at application-led business case. As the conversations, a lot of it is not about look at this new way of being able to print this part. It's more about look at this product that we did for this customer that solved this problem. I think that's been my takeaway in terms of how the conversations have evolved over time. And I don't doubt this year will be the same, walking around. That's what, I mean, I know we might come on to this, but, you know, I think for me, it's when I'm going to these shows, it's obviously, you know, for me, it's, you know, meeting connections and reacquainting and also making new connections. But I think I also like to explore that application, a business case perspective. You know, we have a unique position in the industry that, you know, we're completely agnostic when it comes to modality. Or actually, we have a conventional manufacturer that we're connected with quite closely, as well as obviously the Industry 4 technologies. And we, over time, have actually brought some of that those ideas to conventional manufacturer, like, you know, the nuclear industry. You know, when we've seen something that shows and come back and say, actually, this could be useful for guarding in the nuclear industry. And, you know, so there's always that situation where I like to go to attend these shows and see what I can evaluate from a similarity perspective.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I just want to add, I mean, I think our approach has changed as well. Back in 2017, 2018, it was very much about exploration, walking around the booths, get to meet people, seeing what's new. Obviously, we're still seeing new things come out, but it's less and less as the years go on. I think what it's become now is more strategic. So next week, I think there's going to be a lot of networking, business development, spotting new trends. I feel that Rapid is really kind of an industry pulse check, and you see where trends are becoming reality. There's a lot of business development network going on, and you get a real sense of the market direction at Rapid. So yeah, I'd be looking forward to it.
I think also what I would add as well is, look, we still get to go to manufacturing companies and walk manufacturing floors and see, certainly from a number of people we have in the business, we've got manufacturing roots. So we love to get up close and personal with the technology. And there's no greater opportunity to be able to do that than at Rapid. To be able to, benchmark different technologies and different business cases against one another. So yeah, we are in a quite unique position in that respect. Most other companies are particularly focused on one or two verticals or different modes of manufacturing, whereas we can just sort of almost go across the industry and then make a good synopsis of what stood out. So when it comes to the startups have always featured, haven't they, in terms of our focus as an organization, helping companies that are starting the journey of developing a company, having a mission, having a vision, and then trying to attract the right talent to be able to help them grow, and then doing that in the right way so that when you're hiring those key fundamental strategic people at the beginning of that journey, it is very much about how they can add value, not just from a skills perspective, but also from a cultural competency point of view.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's a whole different kettle of fish for us this year, really. Obviously, after our rebrand, it's going to feel quite a little bit different, I suppose, arriving as Kensington 360. So, I mean, let's talk about the rebrand. I mean, why did it happen? Why did it need to happen? And kind of what changed in the business, you think, that made it necessary for us to become Kensington 360?
Yeah, for me, I think it's an exciting next step. I mean, it was Kensington Additive for 12 years, get on to 12 years. And the reason we decided to rebrand was we needed to, essentially. From my perspective, we were branching into markets that were complementary to AM. We were also branching into other markets across the industry for umbrella that weren't necessarily anything to do with additive. So it was a necessity last year that we decided to completely rebrand to K360, which incorporates multiple different kind of business units. And we're seeing some of this coming to the likes of I mean, we're seeing robotic businesses kind of attending Rapid now as well. So yeah, I think K360 as our umbrella, capturing all of them different markets and facets of the industry is going to be key moving forward for us. And that will be something that we'll look to share at Rapid next week with our partners as well.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, K360 better represents who we are today, really, I think. And actually, it does represent where we've been, though. Back in the early days, our inception in 2006, we were dealing with advanced machine tools and advanced machine tool companies. And, now we look at, as Mark said, at AM, the complementary markets to additive manufacturing, the likes of robotics and automation. That was a natural place for AM to not evolve, but to obviously for companies that are looking at AM to consider to make the business case more viable, is to go, actually, when we produce these parts, how do we produce these parts more integrated within our full manufacturing process? And so, that and, if we look at our other complementary markets, the likes of the metrologies, the clean techs, the MedTechs of this world, the medical med devices, huge in additive, and always has been and will always be increasing. We're seeing medical med device being, there's a huge rise in additive manufacturing, specifically with things like patient-specific applications and such like. So, all these complementary markets, we've been in for quite some time, but, as we said, just to answer the question, 60 just more accurately represents who we are because of these complementaries that are ultimately either up, down, or across the value chain for AM. There has definitely been more of a shift to having specific vertical markets. So it's less about AM to AM now. It's more about how AM can be better adopted to the vertical markets that they're associated with, whether it be medical space, A&D. And that's, I guess, the reason why in some respects, we've seen this consolidation in some of these shows because obviously customers are starting to go to, these more specific customer focused markets.
Was this kind of just a shift in name, or do you think there was a bit of a shift in mindset and positioning with this rebrand as well, in terms of not just the industries we're in, but how we're operating as a business? Would you say there's been a shift there?
In mindset, I mean, I think the rebrand was great for the team. Obviously rebranded the website, which is a great new look for us. We've rebranded all of our kind of materials that we send out to our partners. So I think it's been a positive change for the internal team. I think it's a great new look, and it represents more of what we're about.
It's still at our core, and will always be. Ultimately, realistically, it's a situation where these, complementaries have allowed opportunities for market managers. So basically, we've enabled to have these complementaries and divide our business in such a way we have more of a focus. And actual, from an organizational perspective, we have people that focus on these particular complementary markets, and that allows us to consolidate and focus. So I would say that has had a change in mind shift and mindset, but from a focus perspective.
That's right. I think it's fair to say now that additive doesn't exist in isolation anymore. I think these complementary industries are part of it now. It's Aerospace Defence, they have divisions that are distinctly additive. MedTech, as you mentioned, Robotics, these are all elements that additive is fully incorporated into. But yeah, I think obviously we can kind of wrap this up for now. We've all got a lot of preparation to do in time for Rapid. So just before we go, I suppose, what are you most excited about heading into Rapid this year, and what does a successful Rapid look like for you guys?
I mean, for me, apart from going to Boston, which I've never been to, I'm looking forward to that. It's all about meeting my current partners, meeting new people, discovering new trends within the industry, and I'm really excited to obviously get our new brand out there as well. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
To answer your question, I think from my perspective, it's very much about excited to get connected, make obviously reconnected, and obviously go over to Boston. I've been before myself, but when I worked for Caterpillar, and had a nice time when I went then. But this time under Kensington's, it will be really good to reconnected with the people that I've developed over the relationships I've developed over time. Also, we've got a free day actually on Monday, so it'd be nice to see some sites. So if anyone's got any recommendations for sightseeing, that'll be very, very much welcome. But I think, going back to the show, for us, it is about building on those connections we already have, making new connections, and really seeing how the market is evolving and market is becoming a lot more application business focused.
No, definitely. And if you guys watching want to meet up with Mark and Phil during the event, feel free to reach out to them on LinkedIn or drop us a message on one of our Kensington pages, either on LinkedIn or Instagram, or drop us an email and we can set up a meeting for you while they're there. But yeah, thanks very much, gents. Hope you have a great time. I'm sure you will. Yeah, enjoy your time in Boston, and we'll catch you up when you get back.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Bye.